Hi students, today we are starting our next topic, that is ELISA. ELISA is the basic assay technique known as enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, also referred as EIA, that is enzyme immunoassay, that is carried out to detect and measure antibodies, hormone, peptides and proteins in the blood. Antibodies are blood proteins produced in response to a specific antigen. It helps to examine the presence of antibodies in the body in case of certain infectious disease. ELISA is a distinguished analysis compared to other antibody assay as it yields quantitative result and separation of non-specific and specific interactions that take place through serial binding to solid surfaces, which is normally a polystyrene multivalve plate. Type of ELISA. ELISA test can be classified into three types depending upon the different methods used for binding between antigen and antibodies, namely indirect ELISA. Antigen is coated to the microtiter well. Sandwich ELISA. Antibody is coated with the microtiter well. And competitive microtiter well is antigen coated, is filled with the antigen antibody mixture. Indirect ELISA. Indirect ELISA detect the presence of an antibody in a sample. The antigen is attached to the well of the plate. A sample containing the antibodies is added to the antigen coated wells for binding with the antigen. The free primary antibodies are washed away and the antigen antibody complex is detected by adding a secondary antibody conjugated with an enzyme that can bind with the primary antibody. All the free secondary antibodies are washed away. A specific substrate is added which gives a colored product. The absorbance of the color product is measured by spectrophotometry. Sandwich ELISA. Sandwich ELISA helps to detect the presence of antigen in a sample. The well is coated by antibody. The sample containing the antigen is added to the well and washed to remove the free antigens. Then an enzyme linked secondary antibody which binds to another epitope on the antigen is added. The well is washed to remove any free secondary metabolites. The enzyme specific substrate is added to the plate to form a colored product which can be measured. Now competitive ELISA. Competitive ELISA helps to detect antigen concentration in a sample. The wells are coated with the antigen. The antibodies are incubated in a solution having the antigen. The solution of the antigen antibody complex is added to the wells. The well is then washed to remove any unbound antibodies. More the concentration of antigen in a sample, lesser the free antibodies available to interact with the antigen which is coated in the well. The enzyme linked secondary antibody is added to detect the number of primary antibodies present in the well. The concentration is then determined by the spectrophotometry. Principle of ELISA. ELISA works on the principle that specific antibodies bind the target antigen and detect the presence and quantity of the antigen binding. In order to increase the sensitivity and precision of the assay, the plate must be coated with antibody with high affinity. ELISA can provide a useful measurement of antigen antibody concentration. ELISA procedure. ELISA is one of the easiest blood tests can be carried out. It is rapid, quick and requires a blood sample of the patient. The entire procedure of ELISA is mentioned below. An antibody is attached to a polystyrene plate which is a solid surface and is attracted or has an affinity towards bacteria, other antibodies and hormones. Antigen is filled with antigen antibody mixture, after which free antibodies are removed by washing. A second antibody specific to primary antibody is added which is usually conjugated with an enzyme. Free enzyme linked secondary antibodies are removed by washing the plate. Finally, the substrate is added. The substrate is converted by the enzyme to form a colored product which can be measured by spectrophotometry. Now, advantages of ELISA. Result fetched from ELISA gives an accurate diagnosis of a particular disease since two antibodies are used. It can be carried out for the simple samples, complex samples, as the antigen is not required to get purified to detect. It is highly responsive since direct and indirect analysis methods can be carried out. It is rapid test, yield result quickly. Possible detection for ELISA ranges from quantitative, semi-quantitative, standard curve qualitative, calibration curve models, etc. Easier to perform and uncomplicated processes such as compared to other assay which require the presence of radioactive material. Now endoscopy, it is the insertion of a long thin tube directly into the body to observe an internal organ or tissue in detail. It can also be used to carry out other tasks including imaging and minor surgery. Endoscopy are minimally invasive and can be inserted into the openings of the body such as mouth or anus. Alternatively, they can be inserted into small incision, for instance in the knee or abdomen. Surgery completed through a small incision and assisted with special instrument known as endoscope, and it is called keyhole surgery. Because modern endoscopy has relatively few risks, delivers detailed images and is quick to carry out, it has proven incredibly useful in many areas of medicine. Now endoscopies are quick and relatively safe procedure. The first endoscope was designed in 1806. The main reasons for endoscopy are investigation, confirmation and treatment. Endoscopy can be used to remove tumors or polyps from the digestive tract. You can see how it can be done, endoscopy. It is useful for investigating many systems within the human body. It includes gastrointestinal tract like esophagus, stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine, bile duct, rectum, etc. Endoscopy, when it is done of anus, it is known as anoscopy, rectum, rectoscopy, colon, colonoscopy, small intestine, enteroscopy, duodenum, esophagogastro, duodenoscopy. Then respiratory tract is known as rhinoscopy, lower respiratory tract, bronchoscopy, ear, otoscopy, or urinary tract, cytoscopy. Female reproductive tract, gynoscopy, cervix, that is mouth of uterus, that is known as colposcopy, uterus, hysteroscopy, fallopian tube, falloposcopy. Through a small incision, when small incision is made, then abdominal or pelvic cavity, that is laparoscopy, interior of a joint, that is arthroscopy, organs of the chest, that is thoracoscopy or mediatinoscopy. Now procedure. The procedure will depend on some extent on the reason for the endoscopy. There are three main reasons for carrying out an endoscopy. Investigation. It is an individual is experiencing vomiting, abdominal pain, breathing disorder, stomach ulcers, difficulty in swallowing, gastrointestinal bleeding, etc. Confirmation of a diagnosis. Endoscopy can be used to carry out a biopsy to confirm a diagnosis of cancer or other diseases. Treatment. An endoscope can be used to treat an illness directly. For instance, endoscopy can be used to cauterize, that is seal using heat, or a bleeding vessel to remove polyp. Sometimes endoscopy will be combined with another procedure such as ultrasound scan. It can be used to place the ultrasound probe close to organ that can be difficult to image, such as pancreas. Modern endoscopies are sometimes fitted with the sensitive lights that are used narrow and imaging. This type of imaging uses specific blue and green wavelengths that allow the doctor to spot precancerous condition more easily. You can see how endoscopy is done. This is camera, this is tube. Endoscopy used in surgery help in minimizing bleeding and recovery times. Endoscopy has advanced in recent years, enabling some forms of surgery to be conducted using a modified endoscope. This makes the surgery less invasive. Procedures such as removal of gallbladder, sealing and tying of the fallopian tube, and the removal of small tumors from the digestive system or lungs are now common things. A laparoscope is a modified endoscope used for keyhole surgery, also referred as laparoscopic surgery. Laparoscopic surgery requires only a small incision and can be used for appendicitis, means removal of appendix, hysterectomitis, means removal of uterus, and prostatectomitis, means removal of prostate gland. Now, tissue transplantation. Many different type of tissues can be transplanted, including skin, bone, cartilage, adrenal tissue, fetal thymus, corneas, and composite transplantation of tissue to restore the face of extremities. Now, composite transplantation, that is hand, extremity or face. Composite transplant involve multiple tissue, usually including skin and soft tissue, and sometimes musculoskeletal structure. Many of these procedures are now possible because of advances in the immunosuppressive therapy. The first successful composite transplants were hand transplant. Since then, perhaps as many as 10 different structures have been replaced in about 150 patients. The first hand transplantation was done in 1998. Since then, double hand and upper extremity transplantation have been done. Recovery of the hand functions varies widely. Some recipients regain enough function and sensitivity to do daily activities. The first face transplantation was done in 2005. Now, immunosuppression usually consists of induction therapy followed by the triple maintenance immunosuppression with the corticoids and anti-proliferative drug, that is basiliximab, and a calcineurin inhibitor. Now, skin grafts. Skin grafts may be of two types, autograft and allograft. Skin autograft use the patient's own intact skin as the source. Split thickness grafts are used. For these grafts, a thin layer of epidermis and some dermis are excised and placed on the recipient site. Such grafts are typically used for burns and may not also be used to accelerate healing of some wounds. Because a significant amount of dermal elements remain at the donor site, the site eventually heals and can be harvested again. Now, full thickness grafts are composed of epidermis and dermis and provide better appearance and function than split thickness graft. However, because the donor site will not be healed primarily, it must be a loose area of redundant skin, that is abdominal or thoracic wall, sometimes scalp, so that the site can be sutured closely. Thus, full thickness grafting is usually reserved for cosmetically sensitive areas, that is face, or areas requiring a thicker, more protective skin like hands, because full thickness grafts are thicker and more vascular, and they do not have quite as high as survival rate as a split thickness graft. The patient's own skin cell may be grown in culture, then returned to a burned patient to help cover extensive burns. Alternatively, artificial skin composed of cultured cell or a thin split thickness skin graft placed on a synthetic underlayer may also be used. Skin allograft. Skin allograft use donor skin. Skin allografts are used for patients with extensive burns or other conditions causing such massive skin loss that the patient does not have enough undamaged skin to provide the graft. Allograft can be used to cover broad denuded areas and thus reduce fluid and protein losses and discourage invasive infection. Unlike solid transplant, skin allografts are ultimately rejected, but the resulting denuded areas develop well vascularized granulations onto which autografts from the patient's heel site take readily. Now, cartilage transplantation. Cartilage transplantation is used for children with congenital nasal or ear defects and adults with severe injuries or joint destructions. Chondrocytes are more resistant to rejection, possible because the spursa population of cells in hyaline cartilage is protected from the cellular attack by the cartilaginous matrix around them. Immunosuppression is therefore not indicated. Now you can see this is the damaged bone and this is treated bone. How you can see in what manner it is treated. Transplantation. Now bone transplantation. Bone transplantation is used for reconstruction of large bony defects. No viable donor bone cells survive in the recipient, but dead matrix from allograft can stimulate recipient osteoblasts to recolonize the matrix and lay down the new bone. This matrix acts as an scaffolding for bridging and stabilizing defect until new bone is formed. You can see in what manner it is bone grafting. This is hip bone. You can see easily how it is treated. Now we are talking about the bone marrow harvesting from the donor. This is hip bone. This is hip bone. Now adenal autografting. Adenal autografting by stereotactically placing medullary tissue within the central nervous system has been reported to alleviate symptoms in the patient with Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease means when patient forgets everything with age. Allograft of adenal tissue, especially from fetal donors, have also been proposed. Fetal adenal medullary tissue is stereotactically implanted in the striatum of the patient with Parkinson's disease. Xenograft of endocrinologically active cells from porcine donors are being tested. Now, fetal thymus implant. Fetal thymus implants obtained from stillborn infants may restore immunological responsiveness in children with thymic aplasia and resulting abnormal development of the lymphoid system. Because the recipient is immunologically unresponsive, immunosuppression is not required. However, severe grafting via short disease may occur. So today whatever I have taught you, I am sending you its PDF. Thank you.